35-20 roll over the past 4 weeks with complimentary plays after cashing in with BYU getting the half-point cover against Valpo last night in the NIT semifinals. Makes me even more glad that I went ahead and used as my best bet last night George Washington, the 3-point underdog, hammering San Diego State, exactly as I forecasted. I've got a complimentary play in college hoops coming up tonight in game number 2 of the CBA Finals with Nevada hosting Morehead State. That's coming your way in just a second, but first I want to talk a little baseball. Yes, baseball. It's right around the corner, guys. Listen, I'm going to tell you something that regular followers know that I tell you each and every time before a season starts for the past 20 years. And it doesn't matter the sport. The first 3-4 weeks of the season is the only time you have the advantage over the odds makers, which means it's the only time you and I have a clear-cut advantage over the guys that make the prices, because they don't know anything more about the teams coming out of spring training, or if this is the NBA coming out of the preseason, or if this is the NFL coming out of 4 meaningless exhibition games, or in college football coming out of summer of practices, than you or I. So consequently, you're going to find the softest numbers of the year and the best numbers in terms of making a profit. But you got to strike, and you got to do so in the first 3, maybe 4 weeks, because after a while, listen, guys, the odds makers are always going to catch up. Sure, skill and talent in picking winners is going to win out over the long haul if you do this and love it like I do. And listen, this is my best sport. I love baseball because baseball not only is my favorite sport, my favorite sport to bet on, and my most profitable sport forever, because unlike a lot of handicappers who hang up their shingle right after the Super Bowl or right after the Final Four and they go fishing and they come back when the college football season kicks off at the end of August, no. Listen, I find baseball is so good because you've got consistency. And all the games, each team playing 5 to 6 games a week, all the guys that you like in the rotations, pitching every 4th or 5th day, they reveal patterns. And that's really the key to winning. Listen, one of the patterns I always look for, I'll tell you right now, I always look for guys coming off 3 good or 3 bad starts to flip the switch and go the other way. I'm always looking for that pattern. There's so many others. We'll talk about it as the season gets underway and progresses. But I wanted to take this opportunity to also answer a couple of emails that came through customer service regarding who are the best baseball handicappers. And it's a damn good question. Listen, I have turned a profit 14 of the past 18 years. Okay? 14 of the past 18 years. I can live with that. And I think most of you guys certainly have as well. But there's 2 schools of thought here, and I can't really tell you one is any better than another. So you're looking for guys who have won consistently 4 months in all sports combined, carrying a massive winning streak into the regular season? Or are you looking for guys who have done consistently well over the previous baseball seasons and hope they continue their success when the sport rolls around again? I got to be honest with you. I don't know if there's a right or a wrong. I don't know if there's you pick number A or pick number B. One thing I can tell you here, I have a steadfast rule. You never release a favorite of $1.60 or more here on this site. Absolutely not. And I tell these guys all the time that if the line looks like it's going that way, sorry, you can't use that game. You can use run line plays, fine. But you can't lay more than that because that's ridiculous. That's stupid money. That's foolish gambling. You don't have to be told and pay good money to be told to bet a 175 favorite. Are you kidding me? But at the same time, you don't play dogs for dogs' sake, as I talked about in one of my videos over the weekend in college basketball. So let's talk about a couple of the guys here. Brad Wilton, last year in the regular season, $10 bettors made in baseball, just in baseball, $9,965. Postseason, they made another $2,200. Since his debut at this site in February of 2013, baseball bettors have made $21,685. You want the guy who has made more money in baseball over the past 3 years? Hey, listen, I've had some great seasons, but Brad Wilton's beating the hell out of me even, okay? And here's the thing. Brad Wilton, as you know, has been on like a 6-month run on this sites in all sports combined. So he's one of those guys that answers both question A and B that I posed to you earlier. Chris Jordan, $1 bettors, made a little over $5,100 last season. He only went 83-62 with his plays, but it shows you the combination of cheap chalks and undervalued and nice underdogs, which led to that $5,500 profit. Now, Jeff Benton, last year, regular season, $10 bettors made a little over $3,900. Past 2 years combined, as you see on his website, those same $10 bettors, regular season, postseason, the past 2 years combined have made over 10 grand. Now, there's other guys like, and I'm just going to throw this out here, like a guy like Scott Delaney. Yeah, $10 bettors made $1,700 last season. Okay, it's a long season. He turned a profit, but I wouldn't exactly jump for joy at those numbers. Trace Adams did not have a good baseball season last year, okay? But you see what Trace Adams has done here at the site, making $1 bettors over $50,000 in all sports combined for what, 6.5 months? So he's another one of those guys that you have to fit in that equation I talked about earlier. Okay, do you want to ride the guy who's got the hot hand over every single sport over a number of months? Is he going to carry that success over in baseball? Listen, just because you lost last year in baseball doesn't mean you're going to lose this year. Just because you won last year in baseball doesn't mean you're going to win this year either. So I wanted to at least throw some numbers in your direction, not to confuse you, but to just lay it out. The one thing I will tell you about baseball as well, listen, one of the key things, if you ride my plays, you're going to see a lot of run line releases because baseball betting has changed. Baseball betting is not like it was back in the mid-'90s, early 90s, when if Clemens or the big unit was going, you'd have a 300 price. Now, forget about it. You can have a team that's lost 6 of its last 8 games and they have their number 3 starter going at home against another team that's just average on the road. Jesus, the price might be $1.85. So you got to always look at the run line. And run line plays, listen, that's how you accumulate profit too, because suddenly you're taking these run line big heavy favorites and you're making them $1.10, $1.20 dogs. You start turning a profit, you start building that bankroll, and it puts you on the righteous path as we continue. Okay, let's get to the complimentary play here. All your coupons, etc., blah, 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 are over on the homepage. FYI, Steve Buden's Cali Cartel lost last night with Cal Irvine in the championship game of the College Insider Tournament. Damn them! 10 straight 10-dime winners, or 100-dime winners, and all of them you got for $55 off, and they had the audacity to lose a game last night. You just can't trust people. But, I mean, what an incredible run it has been. Shawn Michaels won again last night, another 100-dime winner as well. He's got another discounted play today. I've got a big play today. But listen, let's talk about the CBI tournament. I think all of the postseason minor league tournaments, the NIT, the College Insider, this bogus Vegas 16 tournament, which, let me tell you, I used to do local cable television years ago, when I was still in high school, in fact. And yeah, I did football and I did basketball play-by-play, but that was only like 35 games a year. Well, I was an addict. I had to do more. So, I'm doing girls field hockey, girls lacrosse, men's wrestling, as opposed to women's wrestling, right? I mean, anyway, I think there were more fans sometimes at girls field hockey day games attending those games that I used to do for TV than have been showing up at the Mandalay Bay Events Center for the Vegas 16 tournament, which, of course, is a misnomer because they didn't even have 16 teams. They only had 8 anyway. So, interesting. But that's where my best bet happens to be tonight. Listen, I think all the tournaments, though, should adhere to what the College Basketball Insider or the CBI Invitational, College Basketball Invitational Tournament does. They have a best-of-3 finals. So you had Morehead State opening up at home, 86-83 over Nevada, laying 4 points a couple of nights ago, Monday night, in game number 1. But now Nevada, after going over 2,000 miles to the middle of nowhere in Kentucky, yeah, I pissed off all you Kentucky people too. Listen, now they get to come back to Reno. And they get to host games number 2 and 3. So you have Morehead State, a team that certainly played a good non-conference schedule this year, now traveling the other direction. Did Nevada play that well the other night? No, they did not. They had their big men in foul trouble earlier. Cam Oliver, 6'9", freshman forward center for Nevada, who has just been on one hell of a run. The 5 games coming into that game the other night, only played 5 minutes in the first half because he was saddled with early foul trouble. Had a very game. 21 minutes because of foul trouble. 12 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks. Well off the tournament numbers he had been averaging. Well off the numbers he had been averaging since the start of the Mountain West tournament. I mean, in the previous 5 games, this guy had been averaging close to 20 points and 12 rebounds a game. As I always say to you, you play at home, those whistles are not going to go the other team's direction. More often than not, you're going to get the benefit of the officials' calls. So I'm looking for Nevada to play better in terms of keeping Morehead State off the boards. I mean, my God, the three big men for Morehead State in that game one game, they had 51 of their 86 points. They just dominated down low. I just don't see a repeat of that happening. I also don't see a Nevada team that was unable to get its run game going, its transition game going, to be held to 0 fast break points like they were in the first one. Listen, it's a do or die game. It's a 3.5 to 4 point line. I think you got to play Nevada here. They've covered 9 of their last 10 at home. Very strong season at home. Took care of business in their first 3 CBI games, winning and covering them all. Montana, Eastern Washington, and Vermont. Vermont was probably the best of the teams that they played, but I think Vermont is comparable to Morehead State. So I'm going to go with Nevada minus the points. That's your complimentary play. I wish you well, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow when we do this one more time.